I'm going to just, in case you might be with the one person that doesn't really know who Pandion is, I'm going to give it a little bit of a spiel here. So we're a nonprofit. Pandion Music Foundation is a 501c3 nonprofit that equips emerging music creators around the world with tools to help foster more equitable, attainable, and sustainable careers. We're based in Los Angeles. PMF amplifies diverse voices to grow a more inclusive music industry by providing free weekly online workshops and wellness initiatives that connect independent musicians with leading professionals. And today we have Kelsy, and I met Kelsy in New York this year, just like a few weeks back. We went to the Mondo conference, and Kelsy Lartius Miguel. Am I saying your middle name right? Lartius?
It's my maiden name, Kelsy Lartius Miguel.
Lartius.
It's a tricky one.
Lartius Miguel is a music industry professional and community builder based in Denver, Colorado. Prior to launching Kelzana Artist Management, Kelsey worked in roles across many realms of the music industry, including concert production, which is awesome because a lot of us are performing artists, booking, marketing, management, and artist relations. With this wide range of experiences and a bachelor's degree in music business from Berklee College of Music, Kelsey takes a strategic, knowledgeable, and holistic approach to growing artists' careers. And I know that just gives you a little peek into your life. Please elaborate with us and tell us more about you.
Yeah, so yes, my name's Kelsey. I'm tuning in from Denver, Colorado. And it's a nice sunny blue sky day with I think we're getting up into the 50s today, so it's not like a terrible December day. Anyway, yeah, so I have a artist management and artist services and consulting company, Kelzana or Kelzana. I tend to say Kelzana because I'm from the Midwest originally, but people say it both ways, and that's good. Um, so I have been working in the music industry for I guess half my life. I started when I was a teenager. I'm now 28. And I started out working in show production. My dad and I actually had a sound and production company that put on um, productions for various festivals in Iowa, where I'm from, and as well as outdoor concerts. We would bring in like pro sound to venues that needed a higher level of sound but didn't have the equipment in house. So I got that was kind of like my first real working position, doing a lot of the roadieing and long days and lots of lifting things. um, and then I was like pretty set on working in the music industry. I thought about doing um, production at first because that was kind of where my head just kind of naturally went, and then I kind of skewed more towards the business side. As To be quite honest, I felt like I definitely was not that inspired to be in the production world because I didn't see many other women working in that area. But it seemed a little bit more of an opportunity for the business side of things. So I got an internship working at a booking agency, and that was kind of where I started learning some of the more administrative pieces of booking shows and contracting and deal structures and all of that stuff. They also had a management arm, and so I picked up some of those things as well. And then while I was doing that, I was also getting a nice, well-rounded um, education from Berklee College of Music and learning a lot about publishing and copyright and all the more kind of nitty-gritty pieces of the business that, um,
Was that like online
yeah,
for you?
yes, I did their online program. So I did my first 2 years of my bachelor's program at the University of Iowa. And there I was involved in their concert production group. I did a lot of marketing with them, and also like was taking classes in media and uh, even like I took 3 different popular music classes. That was kind of a cool way to kind of academically look at how music affects society and all of that kind of stuff. But yeah, then when I was going into my junior year, that was when I transferred to Berkeley's online program, and also that coincided with my move to Denver. Um, and then after that, once I graduated, I got a job working at music venue, concert, a concert hall, and community school and nonprofit here in Denver called Swallow Hill Music. They do a lot of folk and Americana, and they're kind of like the sort of known venue here in Denver for that style of music. And I learned a lot there just about, I worked with a lot of our teaching artists at Swallow Hill Music, and they taught a variety of instruments, performance, songwriting, all sorts of different stuff. So that was kind of where I started having a more like one-on-one relationship with some of these, especially local artists here in Denver that, um, we're just doing things to get by and doing all the stuff. And it was several years into that I kind of decided I wanted to take a turn back toward um, really digging more into artist management and really like I would say my passion is really helping artists figure out a career that works for them, both like emotionally and also like practically. And so that was kind of how Kelzana was born, was me thinking about how I could um, potentially start my own company working with artists to help, um, just empower them emotionally and practically in their music careers. So I've been doing that now for a year and a half, and it's been a lot of learning and a lot of um, yeah, it's just been a really great, amazing time to kind of figure out what things I'm really passionate about, figure out what work with more and more artists and kind of see like how everyone sort of has a different path and figuring out how I can help them get through that. That's really what we're doing at Kelzana. So yeah.
That's great. So, what is the standard way of how you might find the artist or they find you? Is it
Yeah.
is it a combination?
Yeah, it started out with me reaching out to artists and musicians that I already knew and just kind of, I mean, basically doing volunteer work for them. I've been working on making the Kelzana business sustainable, and with that, I'm not doing any volunteer work for artists anymore. But it was a great way to sort of get things rolling. And at this point, we aren't really doing too much direct outreach, though I would like to do more like actual A&R and contacting people that we feel really passionate about. But otherwise, like a lot of people have just come through seeing our activity on social media um, and our website. So a lot of it has been very digital. But I've also been, we met at Mondo. I met Jared at Durango Songwriters, and I've been like to a bunch of different. I've been doing a lot of networking, and so that's been another big way for me to find people.
Amazing. Yes. And you're very easy to talk to and get to know. I wish I would have met you like earlier because it's just so much fun to get to know you. So and when you are working with your artists, what is your main focus in your in the way you, I guess, envelop your relationship with them? Like, is it mostly representing them like through licensing and also booking still, or just general overall management? And what would that would look like? Like, let's say you're managing Jared or something. Let's pretend it's Jared, or if
Yeah,
you have a highlight of somebody who you are managing. What would it look like?
yeah. So the one of the things that I feel is the most important, and the thing that we always touch on with artists first and foremost, is goals and strategy. So that is sort of coming from more of a consultant perspective. We, which of course managers are doing that all the time too. I think, some managers might vary in how much they're sort of getting involved with that. And I really try to approach it as, what are the artist's goals and how can we help that versus what we think the artist's goals should be. So I really try to center what the artist is looking for, and things that I think about with that, questions that I ask are things like, what's your favorite part about music? Do you enjoy performing? Do you enjoy writing? Do you enjoy making content? A lot of people don't. Some people do and they're good at it. Um, but I think, like, thinking about what the artist's strengths are, what their goals are, and then, like, I really like to then come in and say, okay, here are some like pathways that I think we could take with this. And a lot of times, most of the work, aside from like the strategy and sort of more like higher level kind of coaching and direction, a lot of what we're doing is helping with marketing and business development for the artists.
Yeah.
Um, so definitely marketing is a um, huge piece. And I kind of think about that as a variety of pieces. Of course, we have socials, you might have a newsletter. I think also in this day and age, regularly having music come out is a form of marketing. I always try to kind of position that the whole, like, I'm sure many, if not all of you, have heard like the whole release a song every month, and that's like your best thing. And to me, it's like that's kind of more of a marketing. That's a marketing push. It's not really like a product necessarily, if that makes sense. I kind of think about that as as a huge piece of the bigger piece body of work that you're putting out, if you're working toward an album, um or even just a collection of singles, or even just trying to build up your catalog. So that's a piece. And then shows and touring, which depends on the level that you're at. And a lot of very, very super early baby beginner artists, sometimes will, I think, have a higher expectations of what they can get out of shows, and um, I try to be realistic, but also not like crush anyone's dreams, you know? Like I think there's a lot of balancing and um, whatnot. But yeah,
I think your role plays a vital, you have a vital like position in the music industry these days, with everyone doing so many releases from, as a producer from their bedroom, like get get out, let's get out of the computer and that's like it will set you apart from AI and all of this other stuff. I think you have a nice position because you've worked with, touring, and you've set up sound production, and you have a real great background to give you that wide view or that overview. And then the other cool
yeah,
thing would be, so yeah, performing live, and then another thing I think that people really need help with is how to get on legitimate playlistings. And that's a really hard one. Not everyone's cut out to do that kind of research and work. So I find that, yes, it's like a lot of people in our groups have really focused on licensing and sync, which I know we talk about in Mondo, and and at Durango, of course. But then there's the
yeah.
other side of it, the A&R side, and the whole networking and the getting out there and getting yourself, what do you love about music? Do you just want to make it from your bedroom? That's great too. Music production is great and just doing it that way. But if you're a performer and you love the connection with the audience, maybe that's like, we need more of you. You can help, more of a wide range of people, like set up like how to, either how to do it yourself, or how you can, you said not to, some people, shouldn't sometimes they have a different um, perspective when they first want to go touring, but maybe that could be made very clear with you and your services, and that would be a great thing, for people who at any age want to just, in their neighborhood or out even a little
Hmm.
farther, making a little tour, how to do that. I mean, any.
Yeah, and also kind of like having setting your expectations for what that will look like if you want to be making sure that you are getting people out, whether even if it's not a ticketed show, even if it's just, visiting a town that's a couple hours away, that has, live music regularly in the coffee shop. I think that's kind of when I say like holistic, um, I really think a lot about taking all these pieces and making sure that they're all kind of involved, but still, like you said, there are always going to be people that prefer performing. There are always going to be people that prefer to produce and not be out as much. And like you can make, I think those are all valid paths, and there are ways to make everything work. And I think like I really feel like it is so important for artists to um, really like sit down and think about their strengths and what they really enjoy doing versus feeling like they have to do what everyone is telling them to do. Because I feel like there's a lot of that in the music industry is like, you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to do this.
Right.
And yes, but those things are a lot of times those are working towards one very specific goal, which might not be your specific goal.
That's true. Or maybe it's not something that is your, in the best in your wheelhouse. Like maybe
Mhm.
want to go on that big tour, but you have kids or something, or
Yeah, yeah,
finances are a certain level, and you have to think about that, especially if you're not getting funded by some kind of a label or something, so yeah,
yep,
so I understand. And even if you're a small indie artist, you have to, if you get funded, you still have to pay back. You have to pay back that money. I mean, everyone
right.
does, right? On whatever level you are. So it's an interesting business, that's for sure. And I think the more that
Hmm.
people understand what to expect coming into it, so maybe you could give us some nice little highlights. And if anyone has any question, you can always raise your hand, or you put it in the chat. Um, you have Kelsey now. There's like a bunch of like great advice she could give you, and or back and forth. So I want to invite you to,
Yeah.
and also, so yeah, so give us like maybe music, like band or music management 101. Give us some, like, like maybe if you're not a touring artist but you want to become one, or you have gone on little mini tours. I know Taylor's in the room. She's gone on some little tours herself, and you put it together yourself, right, Taylor? And so, someone like Taylor is a perfect person who's kind of going into licensing, but also is a performing musician and putting her music out. So,
Hmm.
any words of advice?
Yeah. I think it's if we're speaking about like touring specifically, I think to me the thing that can sometimes most get overlooked is the marketing piece, and building opportunities for fans or potential fans to connect with you. Um, one of actually this was there was a panel at Mondo that was really great where they talked about making sure that you have all the different touch point opportunities for fans to engage with you. And so that could be something from just making sure that your links are on your Spotify bio. I see so many Spotify bios that are just blank, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to learn more about this artist, and I can't, or like at least I can't easily. And so I think thinking about just having as many different touch point opportunities for fans and potential fans to interact with you and to connect with you, and that ties a lot into touring. I think, of course, like getting people out to the show is one thing, but also just once you have them at the show, what are the different opportunities that you can take to connect with them on a deeper level? And that could be something from um, sharing a personal story on stage about a song that people always tend to resonate more when an artist really speaks through from their emotions. And it can be challenging, and some people kind of take that and spin that on its head and put like a kind of parody feeling on it too, which I've also seen work. Um, but I think thinking a lot about, yeah, like your stage presence, how you're introducing songs, um, going out and meeting people after the show. That's especially great if you're opening for someone, so that you can really try to put yourself out there among all the people that don't know who you are. Having merch and stickers and buttons, just easy, again, just like providing a lot of very sort of low effort touch points. I think that's something that can be something that people sometimes overlook, and is something really important, especially if you are putting a lot of investment and money into making this tour or a show happen. I think it's worth it to kind of go that extra mile and make sure that you have uh, those touch points there.
Those are such great, little bits that you're offering and touch points. Because I feel like you're right. Everyone gets like so um, hung up on the performance part and getting ready that you forget about, the connection with the audience, right? That's like the key thing. That's the reason why you're there is you're connecting. You're performing, but you're connecting. You're sharing like a story, a song. It's very
Yeah.
personal. Yeah. What a great.
Yeah, and I think like if for artists that might feel unsure about how they want to kind of interact with that, I think that performance coaching is like a really super valuable um, thing to try to take advantage of. There are a lot of people that have really nailed down the art of performance and connecting with the crowd. And, yes, you as a very talented musician, you will connect with people, but to connect with the max amount of people that you can, you really do kind of need to be getting to that next level. And yeah, I think it is, I think I hear all my clients say it too, like there's always so many things to be doing and so many things to be done, even if you have someone like me helping out. Um, and that's where I really feel like honing in on what your goals are, what your strengths are, what things you maybe want to stay away from because you don't feel like you're as strong in those areas. Um, Really honing in on that hopefully will make all the things that you are doing and that you want to do be even more meaningful.
Right. And so, like you said, thinking outside the box, the little things that's more personal to you, you know, um, I've seen people
Yeah.
do things, even reading a poem in between a song or telling the story behind the song or even calling out somebody in the audience, like, engaging, and talking to them
Yeah.
as you're in between performing or even as you're doing the song is kind of fun, right? Because once again, it's like, it is one thing about like like showing your music and your talent and singing, and that's beautiful in itself. People can get really into it, but sometimes you have to read the room, right? Sometimes people are just really chatty and they're chatting with each other, and then you like that's the time to engage with them, right? Because they're like because they're being chatty, so you're like, okay, well, the audience is like all over the place, so it's not a big deal. Let's engage, right? So
Yeah, and that kind of like I think this sort of same idea crosses over into the land of the other land that's not performance, and how you show up on social media or if you have a, you know, special Discord or something for people to connect with you. Even your website, like and I feel like there are a lot of artists that don't have websites nowadays. I personally think the website is like such a good opportunity for the artists to kind of share the vision of their artistic world. And I think like you can do that through social media and things like that too, but having that place that's really that you're kind of in control of, I think that can be so valuable. And it's another, it's like, yeah, it's the little things. Like, how are you giving people opportunities to engage and how can they connect with you on a deeper level? And maybe that is just a little quote or something on your website or, there's, I feel like there's so many different possibilities out there. And I think I think that all artists have all those ideas within because we're creative individuals, and sometimes it's helpful to just bounce those with other people and take the time to really sit down and like, take an hour out of your day, maybe not even that long, like 20 minutes, 30 minutes to just like write down every single thing you could possibly think of as a way that people could connect with you. So that's one thing that I try to help artists a lot with, that side of kind of brainstorming and thinking about those out of the box ideas. Sometimes it's easier from the outside to see an opportunity than it is from within. Um, so yeah, yeah,
That's great. And yeah, so like it's like your digital home, right? You know, you're inviting someone to
yeah,
your home, and that's where you could share your space. That's, look at this is my living room, this is my kitchen, but these are my pictures, these are my videos, it's like similar, right? So it's like it's very welcoming. You can make it as welcoming as you like. So it's like imagine it's like your home. You're inviting all your fans and your listeners to come to your home. And
yeah. And it's like your actual home. Like you actually own this little piece of the internet versus your social profile, which who knows, they could be. I mean, I do have actually have one client that like we're struggling with. The Instagram has somehow put her into this box of we don't show their content to their followers, and like the engagement is like, it's just insane to see like only maybe 1% of her followers are even getting shown this piece of content. And um that's like, social media is a huge tool, and is really important, I think, for everyone to kind of figure out how how it can work for them, and not. I think social media is something that it can be, that's another thing where people are just telling you do this, do this, do this. And I think it's important to kind of figure out how it can work for you. But also, it is just a tool in the toolbox. I don't think it should be your home. Like, I think, having a digital home in the form of a website, as an example, um, is that's going to be something that you can really make your own. And yeah,
yeah, and even if you don't have a website yet, you can do that link to like Solo 2, or there's so many others where you could have like a base, like where everyone could see all your the different music streaming, you know, apps, and click on, your YouTube and Spotify and Apple and all of that. So and you can put that in your bio in some of your social media, you know, things, which I know social media is just going to keep getting broader and broader and bigger and bigger. We've only seen the beginning of it, so I don't know what the future has, but I'm sure it's going to change. Um,
right.
yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? So
Yeah.
when I looked at your website and I looked at radio and playlist promotion, what advice would you give to those with a very small budget, to get to be heard, to get their voice, their music out, you know, let's say you are that
Yeah.
popular artist, or you are that bedroom production, producer, um, songwriter, and you just do it through releasing. So how do you get on these playlists? How do you get on these radio stations to hear people to hear your music? I know sometimes
Yeah.
stations that are independent allow live performance occasionally, and I've done that before, and that's fun. So what do you recommend?
Yeah. Yeah. There's a few kind of pieces to that puzzle. I think sort of traditionally, I think about like you said, reaching out to your local and community radio stations. Um, it's they're they definitely are few and far between, but there are people out there championing local independent music on a lot of these community radio stations. We have a really great one in Denver called Indie 102.3, and it's under the public radio. Um, Another really great one is KEXP up in Seattle. So they're definitely out there, and I think having that in your sort of release plan for all of your music, making sure that you're sending it out to, I would say, like maybe 5 different community radio stations at a minimum. Um, and then I've kind of been experimenting with some different uh, services, and one of the ones that I have seen some seen have some decent streaming activity for playlists that seems to. I always caution people, like, I cannot 100% say that they're gonna be like, I don't even think the service can 100% say that they are making sure that they're keeping all of the bad actors out. I think it's a really, really hard world right now with that. But the one that I have been using for some clients that has worked decently is this one called playlister.club. It's a service within Song Tools, which I know has ads out all over Instagram because I get them all the time. But they the reason I like that service is that they do, as far as I can tell, they make an effort to make sure that they're removing any bad actor playlist curators. But the thing that I like the most about it is that you're not pitching directly to the curators. You're actually just putting it into their library of for all of the curators to listen to. And what I've found is that we tend to have better luck actually getting onto playlists that way because we're not having to sort of do some of the guesswork of deciding if this curator might be looking for my type of song right now. Like I've also used Groover for submitting, which and I love Groover is a great company too. I think that's doing a lot of really good things. But with them, it can be challenging to, you're picking out the playlist curators, and it's like if you're putting it more into their hands, then I think you can get some better results from that. I'll put this in the chat. It's Playlister Club on Song Tools.
Oh, good. I was gonna just suggest someone. Okay, and then you also talked about Groover.
Yeah, and then Groover is groover.co, and most of their curators are in Europe and the US, but they do have people all over the world. Um, they have playlist curators, radio DJs, bloggers. It kind of runs the gamut of different kind of promotional opportunities. Um, so yes, I do like those. I think you do always have to be a little bit cautious about pitching for playlists, like looking at the playlist, and they're trying to gauge, like sometimes there are some clear red flags to me, which are like unless it's like a video gaming or a driving playlist, it probably shouldn't be longer than like a few hours. That's sometimes like I've seen these playlists that are like 50 hours or something, and it's like chill afternoon, and it's like that, like there's too much. That's not something that you want to mess with. And then also like if you see a lot of the same artist on one playlist, I would also be a little bit suspect of that. I know there are some independent artists that kind of have their own playlists that they have all their music on and then they bring in other stuff, but so there could be some okay ones out there, but that's something I tend to look at. So yeah, that's my kind of like sort of playbook for playlists. The playlister.club is, I think, like starting out, it's like $35 a week to have your song in the playlist. So it's very, or to have your song in the library, I should say, the catalog of music that curators can pick from. So it's pretty affordable, which is nice. And then the other thing is, I think that utilizing digital ads is the other thing that I would really recommend for just trying to expand your listenership and reach. Um, this could range from, and this is something that we work with a lot of artists on, honing in on who their target audience is and how we can make sure we're reaching the right people with ads versus just putting it out into the ether. Um, and there are some sort of kind of, I guess, kind of like sneaky things you can do, like targeting people that are active on Spotify. Like that's something that you can, um, for example, with Meta, which is Facebook and Instagram, you can target people that have an interest in Spotify. And so that's just like one little thing that people might not think of to try to reach people that are actually going to go stream the music.
What would that look like? Like walk us through that process.
Yeah, so I'll try not to like get too technical on it, but basically, so a lot of artists are familiar with boosting something on social media. Um, the way that you can really get more granular with things is actually creating an ad account with the platform. So you can do this with Meta, you can do this with YouTube. You would go through Google Ads to do that. Um, and you can also do it with, you can get on the Spotify audio ad network, which is essentially like those are the ads that play during podcasts or on people that have free accounts. Um, And making an actual ad account will give you more tools to get very granular. It can definitely be a little overwhelming because there's a lot of stuff going on and a lot of different possibilities, but most of them all will allow you to um, target audiences based on certain criteria. So, for example, that criteria could be that they have an interest in Spotify, or on Google that maybe they've searched, um, let's say, like a similar artist name. You can, with Google, like you can get extremely granular. And I always kind of caution people that it's a little bit scary because there's a lot of information that the tech companies have on us out there. But it also is again, it's like another tool in the toolbox, and it's you know, advertising has always been in existence and will probably always be in existence. So I think it does make sense for artists to portion out a piece of their budget to work on getting their music out to those new people. But again, I do think it's important to make sure that you're reaching the right people. So yeah, sorry, that I feel like that's like I'm trying to not get like too technical because it can get confusing um really quickly, but uh I'd love to, if anyone has any specific questions about it, I'd be happy to answer them here.
Do you ever do one like a consultation for like an hour of somebody with a low budget and you can give them all like really specific or more, like a whole album,
Yeah,
like 3 months work or. So
yeah.
whatever the range is, you'll work with somebody's budget if they contact.
Yeah, I feel like we have a pretty good amount of opportunities for people at different budgets. Our consulting rate is 75 an hour, but I feel like we can give you a lot of information in an hour, especially if you fill out the full like client form and everything so that we can make sure that we um, have all of that in mind. We so basically, just real quick, we've got the 75 an hour like one-off consulting. We also have slightly lower rates if you're doing like regular consulting sessions. So those would be I think it's 140 a month for biweekly sessions. And then um 240 a month for, I believe it's 240. If it's if anyone is interested, they can email me or something and I'll get the information. We're working on getting that onto the website so that it's available.
Wonderful.
But yeah, we can do weekly consulting as well. And I think I want to say we have that one at 65 an hour, 4 times a month. So it's something like I think it's 260 a month. Um, and
Okay.
then yeah, so we also, another thing that we've been working on and that we're hopefully going to be building out over the next couple of months is more resources on our website. So we are looking into creating some courses. For example, one that guides you through creating a goals-oriented EPK.
Oh yeah.
Um, and I've got like I recently did a workshop on the like super nitty-gritty details of releasing music. So going through all the different places that you want to register with to make sure you're collecting royalties and that you've got all your split sheets organized and set up correctly and all of that. So that one will probably be the first one that we get up on the website. But one of our goals is really we want to support artists at all levels and be able to, like, I think a lot of this kind of work and information tends to be available only for higher budgets and higher um, artists that are at a certain level already. And one of our goals is to offer a variety of services for artists at all levels. So,
Perfect. We have
yeah,
Jared with his hand up, and then we have a
yeah.
question in the chat we'll address after Jared. Hi, Jared.
Okay, cool.
Hello, everybody.
Good to see you.
Hey.
And see you as well. So Kelsey, I just had a question as far as I know you do a lot of different consultations and helping with artists and how they run their social media. Is there something that you have seen an increase in engagement that you do with, I guess, the average artist that you work with on their Instagram?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is consistency. So even if you can only make time for one post a week, making sure that you are getting that one post a week out, um, that consistency seems to be one of the biggest things that can kind of help or hurt your engagement. And then the other thing too that I try to remind people about is um, keeping their content like a lot of variety. If you're always just sharing about the song that you just put out that is on Spotify to stream, like people are not going to keep with that. So making sure that you are including content that's more about maybe just your day to day, maybe the creative process, stories behind songs, collaborations, like I just really like opening up your mind to different types of opportunities. And there's it's actually I got it from like just like a social media content planner, but it breaks out a few different categories. So there's like promotional, relatable, um relatable, I'm blanking on the other ones right now, but basically like thinking about there's all these different types of ways that you can connect with people, and you don't want to always just have the same kind of content. You want to be keeping it mixed up. And then also just like when you do see that something is working, kind of keeping that going. A lot of social media success, I think, is can be built off of paying attention to how the audience is responding to different things. So really getting into your back end analytics and um, yeah, seeing just being very aware of how people are reacting and interacting with your content.
That's great. Yeah, how you're kind of reading the room, right? But
Yeah.
virtual room, right? Yeah. It's like and sometimes things are appropriate to post at different times than others. Like if something just happened in the, in the world or in around your neighborhood, you might want to think differently about a certain post and you might want to change it up, even if you had it planned. Um, yeah, so it's like that ongoing. It's the same as your audience, right? How engaging, right? So I
Yeah,
noticed.
and everyone, it's different for everyone. That's one of the things that I uh really kind of like feel strongly about is like no one's path is gonna look the exact same. Um, every artist will have a different way of connecting with different people, and um, of course, like you can like take inspiration and take advice from other things that you've seen work, but I think being open to that idea that like your path will be different than everyone else's. I think that hopefully at least can just kind of help people feel a little bit more at ease, I hope. Um, yeah.
Yeah. So Taylor has a question earlier, and it might have gotten
Oh,
answered, but I'm not sure. Let's see. Kelsey, hi Kelsey, I have a question. What types of artists do you mainly represent in terms of genre? I, I'm guessing,
Yeah.
everyone, right?
We are pretty all over the place. So I we definitely tend to gravitate a lot towards um pop, indie, R&B, and folk. Um, we tend to gravitate a lot towards very vocal heavy and vocal strong music. But we've also worked with hip hop artists, we've worked with jazz artists, we've worked with um who else? I don't know. Those are, yeah. I mean, we're kind of all over, but definitely like my sort of like I definitely I'm my personal taste in music is pretty broad and varied. But I would say like pop, R&B, folk tend to be kind of like the strong ones.
Nice. Beautiful. Okay, Taylor, I'm going to unmute you. There you go.
Thanks, Rebecca. Thanks, Kelsey. Yeah, just to follow up on that question. So I was checking out your website and it looks really interesting and you offer so many great services that are really helpful to artists, and thank you for everything you shared. I was also wondering if your company like functions as a traditional artist management company, or is it more like kind of consultant services, or if you also represent artists and work on a kind of percentage basis, or what those kind of offerings are.
Yeah, so right now, we kind of section off it into three sections. So we have the consulting piece, which is um yeah, kind of the lowest price point. And then we have artist services, which we a lot of the artist services does encompass management pieces. But with artist services, like we are charging an hourly rate. And then we are open to management deals, like more traditional commission structured deals. But we're still kind of figuring out the sweet spot for that. And I think if you are interested in that, like definitely send us an email. And if it looks like that could potentially be a possibility, we would definitely let you know.
Kelsey,
Cool, thank you.
to share your email, are you okay with me sharing the email I'm using? Okay, yeah, just in case.
Yep,
Perfect.
totally. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Kelsey. We are at our hour. Thank you. Wow.
Yeah.
It's so much. And, it's like as artists and musicians and songwriters and producers and all of that, or even artist managers, or people going into the industry as, because someone like you, there's so much to learn. There's so, you have to start somewhere. So I think this is just a lot of great information you gave. And we should probably have you back again to, what it's like to do a release, or do what it's like to do an EPK. Yeah,
Yeah, I'd love to. Yes.
we'll think
Yeah.
about that in the near future.
Cool.
And I just want to give a little bit of a thank you to all of you who are our members. We are doing Giving November. Giving Tuesday was last Tuesday, and any amount from $1 on up, please think about us as we are giving our services for free. Or you could share with your wealthy friends, even better, and tell them a little bit about us. We are ambassadors. And we are looking for ambassadors, by the way, for 2025. There's a lot going on with teen camps and things like that. So reach out to and I will put it in the chat, all the information, hello at pandionmusicfoundation.org. So yes, and also you can, with the Creators Circle Facebook group, you can interact with each other. You can say, "Hi, I'm Taylor Dahl, and I'm a singer-songwriter, and I'm looking to hook up with some producers, and this is what I sound like," or something like that. I'm just making that up, Taylor, by the way. And so, you could use our group, and I think in the future we're going to have something even on our home, or in our home, on our home website as a connector as well, and more to come on that. So yes, so I think, yeah, so, and I put it in the chat, give lively for Pandion Music Foundation. Our board made a nice donation to match the gifts that come in for a while, and that's exciting. So next week we have at 11 a.m. Wednesday, December the 11th. So we have 11/11, December 11th at 11. We have with Mallory Zoom back Music Sync, or we have creative song searching and pitching techniques from Maximal Music Sync. So that's who we have next week. Please join us, and once again, hook up with Kelsy. And Kelsy, you and I got to talk. So after this,
Yeah,
I just made a post today about our Mondo trip, and I tagged you on there, and I have a picture of us. So
nice.
I just want to say too, a shout out to all of you that have gotten involved. Like Jared is the one who was actively introducing us to Kelsey even before I met you in Mondo. So we love these kind of connections. If you guys, be brave and connect with us and get more involved like that. And so we love that. And Pandion Music Foundation will have a presence at Durango in February. So look out for that too. All right. Lots of love.
Awesome. Great to talk to y'all.
Bye-bye.